Good morning, I'm Abhiday Shrestha, and these are the headlines for this hour. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli assesses the work execution of his ministers, reshuffle and new appointment of ministers on the cards. Conflict-era victims express outrage against the government's preparation to give general amnesty to the perpetrators of decade-long armed insurgency. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts takes the extraordinary step of rebuking President Donald Trump's criticism of a federal judge. And title contenders Manang Marsiangdi and Three Star to take on each other at the Martyrs Memorial A-Division League football tournament today. Let's begin with the national political update. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has started reviewing the work execution of his ministers following widespread criticism of his government. Oli's government has drawn flack due to its inability to work according to public sentiments despite 9 months in the office. The Premier's move has been seen as an attempt to reshuffle ministerial portfolios, giving way to some new appointments. In this connection, some half a dozen ministries presented details of their respective progress report at the Prime Minister's office in Singhadabar yesterday. During the almost 5-hour-long meeting, the secretaries presented the progress report on behalf of their ministers. Earlier on Sunday, Information and Communications Ministry, Energy and Irrigation Ministry, Commerce and Supplies Ministry, Urban Development Ministry, Industry Ministry and National Reconstruction Authority had submitted their reports to the Prime Minister. All the ministries have mentioned that they have not been able to meet their expected target. Even as the meeting was termed as the first quarterly evaluation of the current fiscal year, analysts have felt that the presence of the ministers themselves made it more like a performance evaluation meeting. The agenda from this gathering would also be taken to the meeting of the ruling Nepal Communist Party scheduled for today. Meanwhile, addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Oli not only expressed his dissatisfaction with the performance of the ministers, but also urged them to be more accountable to their duties in coming days. The victims of the armed insurgency period are yet to receive justice they have demanded despite the lapse of 12 years since the Comprehensive Peace Accord was signed, ending the decade-long Maoist movement. At a national conference organized by a group of the insurgency period victims, the speakers criticized the government for preparations to give general amnesty to the perpetrators instead of efforts to deliver justice. Likewise, victims have also expressed outrage against the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and Commission for Enforced Disappearances, citing both the government bodies have remained dormant. Chairman of the National Human Rights Council, Anup Raj Sharma, said that general amnesty was not the solution, but emphasized the former rebels joining mainstream politics and leading the government was exemplary. The group of victims of the armed insurgency period ended the 2-day national conference issuing a 23-point declaration. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. The government announced subsidized loans in a bid to encourage entrepreneurship among the youths who have returned from foreign lands. The targeted group was especially those who had returned after working abroad and those who returned after completing their studies. However, the government's plan has failed to come into effect due to the lack of interest on behalf of commercial banks that are mainly profit-oriented. During the budget announcement earlier this year, the government pledged to provide a loan of 1 million rupees to youths who had returned from foreign employment. The government intended to create employment opportunities and encourage national productivity. Based on the government's plan, youths can take a loan of up to 700,000 rupees against their educational certificate as security. Female entrepreneurs can take up to 1.5 million rupees. People from the Dalit community can take up to 1 million rupees. And youths pursuing higher and technical commercial education can take up to 500,000 rupees loan at subsidized interest rates. However, the central bank has received complaints from many youths as banks have not facilitated the loan scheme as of yet. A majority of the bank's staff at the same time seem unaware of the government plans. The government would bear 6% interest on loans taken by female entrepreneurs and 5% interest on 6 other types of loans. Likewise, the government had also announced of bearing 75% of banks' charges for loan security and insurance charges for borrowers' project that would relieve the risk of loss in investment. Bank officials have said they are in a good position to provide the loans, however, said education certificate alone was not enough for security. The government is preparing to blacklist Papu Constructions, the company that contracted 35 large and small projects worth 12 billion rupees using political power while producing inferior results. The Public Procurement Monitoring Office has also demanded for a clarification from Papu Constructions, including its partner company named Coastal Company, following a recommendation from Banke's Sitka irrigation project. This has banned Papu Constructions from bidding for any new project for the time being. Among the many projects so far, Papu Constructions has not even completed 35% of the projects that is contracted 7 years ago. Based on the government's data, the company has contracted a total of 35 construction projects worth 12 billion rupees, including 28 bridges worth 5 billion rupees. The data, however, does not include other projects that the company has taken up through other units, as the government does not have a collective record on them. The government decided to go ahead with the blacklisting process against Papu Constructions and its partner Coastal Company after both of them repeatedly lagged in meeting deadlines and were found using inferior quality materials, putting the public life at risk. Both of these companies are banned from bidding for new projects until the government comes to a decision, but they will be allowed to work on the existing projects. The Public Procurement Monitoring Office has given both the companies a month deadline to present their clarification. If the clarification is not convincing, the government has a provision to blacklist the company within 3 years. The Department of Roads has also warned of blacklisting the companies if their projects with the department do not meet the criteria. Meanwhile, the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority has already filed a corruption case against Sumit Roniar and lawmaker Hari Narayan Roniar of Papu Constructions after the company was found to be negligent in the construction of Bardia's Jabdighat Bridge. We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. Welcome back. The City of Art and Culture, Janakpur, has started preparing for the Ram Janaki Vivah Panchami festival to take place on 12th of December. However, since the construction company responsible for the road construction has dug roads on all sides of the Janaki temple, special guests and visitors are expected to face inconvenience while entering the temple. In this context, we had asked the locals of Janakpur Dham what their suggestions are for the Janakpur Sub-Metropolitan Office to complete the road constructions ahead of the festival. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
Mayor साहब र यो सरकारलाई कि एकदम सक्रिय भएर काम गरोस् कि हाम्रो त्यो पाहुनाहरू र लगायत आउने बराती जयन्तीहरूलाई पनि केही असुविधा नहोस् भन्ने हाम्रो अनुरोध छ।
मेसिनरी औजारहरू धेरै भन्दा धेरै प्रयोग गरेर यथाशीघ्र यो सडकलाई सुचारू गराउनु पर्छ।
विदेशी मित्र आउँदै छ, हतारमा बनाइदिन्छ र 6 महिना पनि सडक टिक्ने यस्तो सडक हामीले चाहिएको छैन। बरु यसैलाई प्लेनै गरेर होस् तर पिचिङ को क्वालिटी राम्रो हुनु पर्छ।
जानकी मन्दिरको वरिपरि छ जति त्यो छिटो छरितो पिचिङ गरिदिएको भए त अलि अप्ठ्यारो नहोस्।
भारतबाट पनि कहाँ कहाँ दूरबाट पाहुनाहरू आउँछ, त्यसको लागि बाटोको व्यवस्था त हुनु पर्यो।
It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What should be done for effective implementation of the soft loan announced by the government? Your options are A, banks should take initiative, B, notice on soft loan, and C, central banks monitoring. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Title contenders Manang Marsangdi Club and Three Star Club are taking on each other at the Martyrs Memorial A-Division League football tournament today. This is going to be the first meeting between the top two sides that are only separated by goal difference. Players in both the camps are quite upbeat ahead of the crucial match today. It is not just the players, but football enthusiasts are also looking forward to the encounter between the top two sides. Both Manang and Three Star have also begun their tournament in a confident note, registering 2 wins each from as many matches. Manang defeated Brigade Boys 3-1 and registered a 2-0 win over Nero Team NRT. Likewise, Three Star chalked out a 2-1 win over Friends Club and hammered Brigade Boys 5-1, taking them to the top of the league table. Three Star will be boosted by the return of their captain Bikram Lama following a 9-month break due to injury. Manang, meanwhile, are facing some injury concerns with Sujal Shrestha and Prakash Burathoki nursing their broken hands, while Afiz Awale and Kamal Shrestha are out after double yellow cards. The match is expected to be interesting from the point of view of Anil Gurung, who has joined Three Star this season after spending 13 years with Manang Marsangdi. Both of these teams have played 18 matches against each other, with the equation in the balance reading 6 wins each and 6 draws. The match is scheduled for a 2:30 p.m. kickoff at the Anfa complex in Satdabato, Lalitpur today. Nepalese spin prodigy Sandeep Lamichhane has performed well in the first match of the T20 League by grabbing 3 wickets. In Kerala Kings' 8-wicket victory over Pakhtuns, Sandeep's performance was impressive. In the match played at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium in UAE last night, Kerala Kings won the toss and invited Pakhtuns to bat first. Pakhtuns posted a total of 109 runs in the allotted 10 overs, losing 5 wickets. Andre Fletcher, who smashed 32 runs off just 14 balls and remained not out, was the top scorer for Pakhtuns. Sandeep Lamichhane, who claimed 3 wickets, was the only Kerala bowler to pick up wickets. Chasing a target of 110 runs for victory, Kerala Kings reached the target in 7.5 overs, losing only 2 wickets. Ian Morgan, who smashed 46 runs off 20 balls, was the leading scorer for Kerala, while Sohail Khan and Liam Dawson picked up a wicket each for Pakhtuns. Chelsea legend Didier Drogba has confirmed his retirement from playing, ending 20 years of his career. The 40-year-old Ivory Coast striker had 2 spells at Chelsea, scoring 164 goals in 381 games and winning 4 Premier League matches and 4 Premier League titles and the 2012 Champions League. He spent the last 18 months of his career with US side Phoenix Rising, the club he co-owns. It had been expected Drogba would retire after the United Soccer League Cup final earlier this month, with his last game a 1-0 defeat by Louisville City in the final of the United States second tier. Drogba did not play top-flight football until the age of 23, when French side Guingamp signed him from Ligue 2 Le Mans in January 2002. He moved to Marseille 18 months later, and the following year completed a reported £24 million move to Chelsea, where he had the best spell of his career. He scored 65 times in 105 caps for the Ivory Coast, playing in 3 World Cups and being named African Footballer of the Year twice. And now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli assesses the work execution of his ministers, reshuffle and new appointment of ministers on the cards. Conflict-era victims express outrage against the government's preparation to give general amnesty to the perpetrators of the decade-long armed insurgency. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts takes the extraordinary step of rebuking President Donald Trump's criticism of a federal judge. And title contenders Manang Marsangdi and Three Star to take on each other at the Martyrs Memorial A-Division League football tournament today. And And that's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 this morning. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good morning.